All right, man, it's official. TikTok has been, it went in effect last night at 12 a.m. Some got earlier than that, and it pretty much shut down. But I wanted to talk about the real reason why TikTok actually got banned. I saw a video and me doing my own due diligence and research, and something interesting came up. So let's go to the actual. I always think that, in these type of situations, you have to understand the history of things, how politics can affect and move even the smallest things like social media, and the bigger play. It's always about chasing the money. It's always about seeing whose political position they're trying to get in ranking. And I found the video that pretty much broke it down, and it was very interesting. So check it out.
We need to talk about TikTok. TikTok, if you will, it is the 24/7 news channel of so many of our young people, and it's like Al Jazeera on steroids.
In November of 2023, a recording was leaked of Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL, referring to TikTok as a problem that needed to be taken care of.
We have a major generational problem. The issue in the United States in support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Tag Lee, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this, like, fast.
Now, one interesting side note here is that I came across an ADL report expressing frustration that they couldn't access TikTok's analytics the way they can with every other big tech company. Like, should they be able to do that? Anyway, now we're about a month into this war, and all these studies started coming out, making claims about the proliferation of anti-Semitism on TikTok. The most notable one from a statistician and tech executive named Anthony Goldblum. He tweeted out on November 30th that a study he commissioned concluded 30 minutes a day on TikTok makes someone 17% more anti-Semitic. Politicians like Nikki Haley would then go on to regurgitate this claim on national television.
We do need to ban TikTok once and for all. And let me tell you why. For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic.
Except that survey didn't say that at all, because A, it conflated anti-Israel and anti-Semitic sentiments, which I believe to be different. And B, Goldblum himself admitted that he made some logical leaps when he was drawing his conclusion. But now things are really moving at a rapid pace. The next day, on December 1st, 2023, the New York Post reported that a group of 40 mostly Jewish tech leaders and business executives confronted TikTok CEO Shouzi Chu over their concerns about anti-Semitism and the allegedly disproportionate popularity of pro-Palestine videos on the app. One of those executives, Anthony Goldblum, the same Anthony Goldblum who we were just talking about. And from everything I understand, the meeting didn't go well in the sense that TikTok didn't commit to a kind of wholesale removal of pro-Palestinian or anti-Israel content. So from then on, the fight against TikTok pivoted from a kind of PR battle that we were just looking at to now laying the groundwork to push legislation through that would ultimately ban the app. In March of 2024, a bill was introduced in Congress, HR 7521, called the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, sponsored by Representative Mike Gallagher.
Foreign adversary control of what is becoming the dominant news platform for Americans under 30. This is a common sense measure to protect our national security. I urge my colleagues to support this critical bipartisan legislation.
The argument is one we've heard before. TikTok, owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, could pose a threat to US national security by harvesting user data, and its algorithm could also be weaponized to, quote, brainwash Americans. Now, these concerns I do think are valid in a sense, but I think it's worth noting that companies like Facebook and Google engage in similar data collection practices, and then they would go on to sell this data to China. So China is getting the data anyway.
real quick though, I want to also add that the gentleman that he's speaking of right now, and a lot of the people that are in the Supreme Court and did this ruling, a very high percentage of them also invested in Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook shares. Like, they have heavy investments into Facebook. So that's another conflict of interest in a sense, because not only are you using this to gain financial benefits, and you're also using it as a political push as well, which seemed like conflict of interest, if you ask me. But continue.
But here's where things get really interesting. You start digging into Gallagher's largest campaign donors, and you uncover a story that goes far beyond data privacy or Chinese influence. Near the top of his donor list is AIPAC, the Israeli lobby. Here's a crazy statistic for you. Of the 500 plus members of Congress, only 33 members did not receive a donation from the Israeli lobby in the last campaign cycle. So essentially, when Israel wants something from America, they usually get it. Now, another contributor I want to draw your attention to, Palantir Technologies, which is a defense contractor co-founded by billionaire Peter Thiel. Palantir just happens to work very closely with the Israeli military, providing advanced surveillance and targeting software used extensively in their war on Gaza. And one of their consultants, a man named Jacob Hellberg, was responsible for writing the bill. Yeah, it's incredible. A defense contractor who profits off Israel's war were also the ones behind drafting a bill that would, in effect, stifle criticism of said war, which is a clear conflict of interest, no? At around the same time, the Jewish Federations of North America penned a letter to Congress urging lawmakers to ban TikTok due to anti-Semitism. Not one mention in their letter about China or data privacy.
TikTok runs all sorts of videos that portray the Israelis acting towards the Palestinians in barbaric ways. And when young people see these videos on TikTok, they obviously become remarkably sympathetic to the Palestinians, and they think badly, to put it mildly, of the Israelis. So the lobby would like to shut down TikTok.
On March 23, 2024, HR 7521 passed with largely bipartisan support. Looking back, I was fully expecting the bill to pass the House very, very quickly and easily, because there are a lot of bills that pass the House and don't make it through the Senate. The Senate is meant to slow things down. But 1 month later, on April 24th, the act passed in the Senate, again, with overwhelming bipartisan support, and was signed into law by Joe Biden on the following day. Like I said, I had never seen a bill go through Congress with that kind of speed and velocity, with very little opposition or debate. It's wild. And maybe even wilder, by that summer, Mike Gallagher, the representative who had sponsored the bill, was now working for Palantir as their head of defense. He didn't even finish out his term. He just resigned from Congress and took a job there. I know, all of this sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory. In fact, the ADL did call this a conspiracy theory. The Atlantic also called this a conspiracy theory. They even name-checked me in their article. Quote, "The entire world knows exactly why the US is trying to ban TikTok," James Lee declared on March 16th. Not bad for your boy here, huh? And honestly, this would remain a conspiracy theory. I don't know if I would have made this video if they hadn't come out and confirmed their true motivations.
Typically, the Israelis are good at PR. What's happened here? Some wonder why there was such overwhelming support for us to shut down potentially TikTok or other entities of that nature. If you look at the postings on TikTok and the number of mentions of Palestinians relative to other social media sites, it's overwhelmingly so among TikTok broadcasts. So I'd note that's of real interest.
So with the ban of TikTok now going in effect, a lot of people are going to Red Note, and in a crazy turn of events, this had became a blessing in disguise in many ways than one, in my opinion, because now that people are going to Red Note, which is another Chinese company that was in the App Store, they are starting to wake up not only like the conspiracy theorist people that, you know, already had confirmed a lot of what they was typically saying about America in a sense, or the people that have actually traveled out of America and have spoken about how well they was treated in other countries. Now the typical mom and pop 9-to-5er who work at Amazon is now also seeing, witnessing it firsthand. You're seeing countless videos of Chinese people, you know, pretty much showing like, hey, you can work a 9-to-5 job and not have to work 40 plus hours a week. You don't, and still have a livable lifestyle. You don't have to go to the grocery store and end up paying between $3 to $7 for eggs. And your food that you're buying in the store shouldn't be killing you also. It shouldn't be causing cancer like symptoms, or your body is breaking down because you ate a certain meal from a particular store. You're starting to see, even with the living wages, like, oh, once you buy a home, that you don't pay what you think property taxes every month or every year. Like, no, it's a one-time tax. And after that, you own not only just the lumber, the house itself, it's yours to keep, period. It ain't like in America where you don't even own the land. You just own the lumber that sits on top of the land. And the government can come in at any time if you happen to not pay your mortgage and take your house, take your home. And people was asking questions, like they was out, and even on the other end of the pond, they was asking questions because their government used to say how we are as a society, and they was at disbelief. So they had the opportunity to ask Americans certain questions like, oh, do you really have to pay? Like our government told us, or our, you know, person of power told us that you have to pay for ambulance service if you get into a incident or an injury. And Americans had to eat crow and sit there and say, yes, we do get charged between $300 to $500 for a ride, a Uber ride to the hospital because we got injured. Or, oh, we hearing that your kids have to wear bulletproof book bags to school because of mass shootings. And American people had to sit there and really eat crow once again. And like, yeah, you know, we just had a shooting at high school no less than 2 months ago. 2 incidents in separate occasions where someone decided to go into a school and harm innocent people. Yo, yeah, Amazon is selling bulletproof book bags at an all-time high. Like, we had to sit there and accept and really look in the mirror and say that, yo, we've been sold BS as an American dream. And it goes back to the 48 laws of power, where many have always said, if you separate the individuals and you cause division, you can conquer them any day of the week. I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty much that. And that's what we're starting to notice and see, like, oh, they don't have a problem with a person of color. They just don't understand how we're willing to accept what's the American government just give us. And we think that we're on this high pedestal, that we live this great land of the free lifestyle, when in actuality we're prisoners in many ways than one. And it's really unacceptable. I remember seeing, there was a video I seen that woke up my eyes and really sparked my attention about what's going on in America, was when I was watching Lock Up on TV one time. And I think it was London. They was showing how even though you committed a crime, you go to prison. You know, they have rules and regulations, but their prison was totally different than our prison. Our prison, you'll be in there making license plates for like 2 cents. We just had an incident, you know, with the California fires, that they have the prisoners going out fighting the fires out there, and they're getting paid little to nothing. Whereas in UK, individuals, you get locked up, you learn a vocational skill or train, you get to learn like HVAC or electrician or things of that nature, and then when you're released back to the public, it's a job waiting for you. I bet my bottom dollar the guys that's out there fighting those fires that came from the prison, once they get released, there's no job opportunity for them to become firemen on U.S. soil just off the bat, because you've literally learned the skills of how to combat a fire due to what you did during this particular time frame. So America got it backwards, and it's starting to show. And unfortunately, they tried to steer the herd where they wanted it to go, which is the government. They wanted to steer the sheep back to Meta. And a high percentage of those sheep are like, no, I'm cool. I'm not going back to Meta, and I got one better for you. I'm willing to do what you was already doing, selling my data to China in the first place. Meta had went to court for selling our data. They lost and had to pay out pennies to the people because they was already selling our data to China. And yes, now they have made regulations and rules where they're not doing it as heavy as they did before. But we've already had countless breaches, from Home Depot losing data. You playing your video game, PSN is always being hacked and data being stolen from there. Heck, before the end of 2024, our treasury, the government treasury had got hacked. What's her name? Janet Yellen, I believe that's her name. Her information and content and everything else was hacked. So it's like your data has never been secured with the American people from jump since 9/11. Once they passed that bill that allowed them to gain access to all of our information and Instagram and Facebook, you can mention something on your phone and then you go onto social media, it's advertised to you. Your data and your information has always been stolen. You just was too naive to even pay attention to it, or you just didn't care. But that's my video, man. Sound off in the comment section. This your boy 00 Melo. One love, God bless. Let me know what y'all feel. Peace.